Hola, guapas. Okay, 2 years ago, when I was traveling in Costa Rica, I was talking to this guy. I'm going to say, he's in his 30s, early 30s, mid 30s, so not a young guy. Now, I mean, not like a teenager, like a party guy. And this is why it's relevant. I make a point of asking people who travel a lot, where's the best place you've been to? What's the most amazing thing you've ever done? And this guy has traveled the world, and he seemed like a reasonable person, right? Like just normal kind of person. And I asked him this $1 million question, and he said, by far, the most fabulous experience I've ever had was I did the Hagayang Loop in northern Vietnam. Boom, that just stuck in my brain. Like it was in there because of his experience, because of who he was, like, and how passionate he was when he was talking about it. He's like, far and away, I've traveled the whole entire world, and this is the most amazing thing that I've ever done. And so this to this day has lived in my brain. And as I enter into Vietnam, my whole trip in Vietnam was based on this loop because I had to do it. It was just 2 years later. I'm still thinking about this. And so when I started planning my trip to Vietnam, it was all about this loop. Everything else was just, I'm putting it around this loop. Now, I flew from Shanghai into Hanoi, and then I got on the bus right from the airport and took a 6 hour bus. So it's called a luxury VIP. So the seats recline, and like it's a nice bus, and it's 6 hours because you got to go up north to get to this loop. And so I just hop on this bus, and it's funny because as soon as you get on the bus driver starts like yelling at me. I'm like, what's he saying? Because not a lot of people speak English here, and he's like, you have to take your shoes off and put them in a bag. And so when I go in there, there's like the bus is full already because they picked him up in Hanoi in the city center, and they're just stopping by the airport to pick me up. And it's already full, so I gotta find a seat, and people's stuff is in the aisleway, and nobody moves anything, and you gotta like carry your shoes and your backpack, and you don't know what's going on. This is why I love it, because it's just like every single thing is an adventure. If you're getting water, it's an adventure. And so I find my seat, and then off we go, like crazy driving for 6 hours. And you try to fall asleep because then, it makes the time go by faster, but you literally don't know where you are. And I'm going to tell you, as crazy as like the scooter people were in Shanghai, all the drivers are crazy here, but it's a different kind of crazy. It's an organized chaos, and it's very like polite. I'm like, what am I even saying right now? Like it's mayhem, but it's polite mayhem, and there's honking going on. It's a language, so people are giving certain kind of honks to be like, I'm coming through, I'm not stopping, and like all these things. But it sounds chaotic, it looks chaotic, it feels chaotic, and it just works. And so this was kind of my welcome to Vietnam. You just hop on this bus and go, God, he said my name. I saw my name. So I guess I'm going to end up in the right spot eventually. You just trust. And then a couple hours later, the bus stops, and he's like, get out, 20 minutes, you get a break. And then you're like, okay, where am I? What's going on? And you have some rice, and you have a bathroom break. And the first bathroom was one of those squat toilets, meaning like it's just got like the toilet right on the ground with your feet. And I'm like, I don't even know how to use this, but I'm just going to aim and hope for the best. And it's funny because I carry a pouch with me, and in the pouch I have little thing of hand sanitizer and tissues, because once you get to these countries, you never know what's waiting for you in that bathroom. And a lot of the times it's not toilet paper. Like there is no toilet paper. And even if you're, washing your hands with the water, you just never know. So you got to like have your own back. You got to have your own butt, literally. So back on the bus we go, and more hours of driving, and then they just like go like, BB Hostel, here you go, Heather, 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 this is your stop, go. And they kind of throw you off the bus, and I'm like, where is it? And they're like, it's right there, see you later. And then they drive off. And so and this is like I don't know, 11 o'clock at night. It's pitch dark. I don't even know where I am. And there's just this teeny little sign that says BB Hostel, but it's not any. I never would have known that, except the bus driver said that's it right there. And on the map, it was showing a different place. So I'm like, oh, I think he dropped me at the wrong spot. Now I got to walk around at 11 o'clock at night. I don't know where I am. I don't know where I'm going. But it turns out he was right. They have two hostels, and this one is for the tour that I'm going on. And so you go into the hostel, and of course somebody's there. They're like, somebody will be here for you no matter what time you show up. And he just shows me to the hostel. There's like bunk beds, like one, two, three, four bunk beds. So there's 8 beds, and and the kid doesn't speak English, so he's just like, here you go, pick one. And so I pick a bed, and I see like there's a whole bunch of luggage at another bed. I'm like, I don't know if that's 1 or 2 people, but somebody else is here and they're going to go on the trip. The reason I chose this group to do the Hagang Loop is because they do small groups. So 8 or less, because there are groups that do 20 people and it's chaotic and there's just too much. And they're the party groups. Like they're drinking their faces off. And I'm like, that's not me. So I purposely picked this tour group because I watched some videos on YouTube and done a lot of research. And so there I am in northern Vietnam, and just trying to organize my stuff. So I got to take I have this small suitcase, like my small carry-on suitcase and a backpack, and that's it for however long I go. Like I'm gone for a long time, and my packing is tight. Like I nailed it this time, because my last time I went, I took stuff I never used, and I was so mad at myself because it's like a waste of space. So I was really like bringing my A packing game, and I'm like, this is fantastic. And the way I did that is I got a bunch of merino wool clothes, because you can wear them for days or weeks in a row and not have to wash them, and they don't smell. They're antibacterial. And trust me, I have been putting it to the test. But this merino wool, not only don't you have to wash it, it packs up really, really small, and it doesn't wrinkle, so it takes up minimal space. So I got the basics of my wardrobe all based on merino wool, like a white tank top, black tank top, white t-shirt, black t-shirt, a dress, and then a little hoodie, a super light hoodie, and that's what everything is based on. So those are all my staples. I did not bring a jacket, and in hindsight, I found out in Japan that was a mistake, because it was darn cold there, even in Shanghai, cold. And when I'm doing this loop, I'm on the back of a motorcycle. It's going to be cold. So I mispacked. But the good news is, when I was in Japan, they have that store, Uniqlo. It's Japanese and it's everywhere. And so I got a really small puffer jacket that folds up into like this, like into the palm of your hand. And I used that, and that saved my life. The first night in Japan, I was freezing. I didn't even want to go out because I was so cold. And then I got put on this super thin puffer jacket, and life was amazing. Like, I ran into somebody who did the same thing. He's like, I bought a jacket. He goes, I don't know what this Japanese fabric magic is, but it just works. And I'm like, I don't know what I was thinking, not bringing a jacket, especially because I'm going to be going around the mountains on a motorcycle. Even if it is in Vietnam, it's going to be warmer. But so I added that to my wardrobe, and it was a game changer. It was like saved my life. Anyway, there was some suitcases there. So an hour or two later, when I'm trying to I got to repack my suitcase. So I got to take my suitcase, which is going to stay at the hostel, and I could just take a small backpack that I'm going to use for 3 days, and only put the essentials in it. And the backpack gets put on the bicycle, and we carry it with us through the whole trip. So I have to be really particular about what I take. So I'm repacking my suitcase, and then in comes a couple from Lithuania, and I'm like, I've never met anybody from Lithuania. They were super funny, super awesome, young couple, and they're doing like the 4-day, I don't know what they were doing, but the girl has traveled a lot and the guy hasn't, but they were funny and they were a lot of fun. And so we find our beds, go to sleep. We're getting up the next morning. They're going to feed us breakfast, and then off we go. That's all we know. And in the middle of the night, of course, the door opens, somebody else comes in. And then 4 a.m, door opens, somebody else comes in. So I don't know who's in there at this point. And I don't know until the morning when we wake up. And it turns out there was a girl from Norway there. She was like 43. And then there was a younger guy from Mexico. And then we all had breakfast and we're getting ready to go. We're super excited. Our bags are packed. We're going to meet our drivers. So basically, what the loop is, you travel through Agong, the loop, and you're on the back of a motorcycle. So they're called easy riders. So what happens is you got a driver, and you just sit on the back and you enjoy the view. That's your job, is just to be in the moment and to look around and see all of the gorgeousness that is. And on your motorcycle, you carry everything that you need, and that's it. And so we had our breakfast, and the next thing I know, the couple, they're going a different direction because they're doing a different tour, and the guy from Mexico is going somewhere else. So it's just me and the girl from Norway, and we ended up waiting and waiting. What are we waiting for? Like, everybody else had left, and they're like, oh, there's another couple coming on the 2 days, so they're going to start with you. So we're going to spend a day together, and then on day 2, you guys will separate. And then this lovely French couple comes, again, younger, like maybe in their 30s. And so the 4 of us and our guides, our easy riders, are headed off on this fabulous thing. And again, it's like, the first day it was drizzly and it had stopped raining, but it was wet. So we had to put like plastic on our feet and our legs, and we had elbow pads, and we had a helmet, and we were done up right. Although I knew if we got in an accident, the helmet wasn't going to be helping us. But it gave not the helmet, the elbow pads and knee pads, it gave me a sense of feeling protected. And so off we go on our big adventure. And so for 3 days and 2 nights, we're traveling throughout northern Vietnam on the trail, and we're stopping every 30 minutes or less to see these spectacular views, only to be outdone at the next stop by another spectacular view. And you stop for coffee, and you stop for excuse me, you stop for lunch. And then the first night we had a hotel, so we each had our own room. And then the next night we stayed at a homestay. So the first night, okay, I don't even know where to start. They fed us breakfast. We got on the bikes, and then when we stopped for lunch, it was just like this whole table of food, and we all shared this food. It was so delicious, so delicious. And then when we stopped for dinner, we've got our hotel, and then we met at 7 o'clock so we could shower and all that. And then we had a hot pot, and we all sat together, and they're showing us how to cook this hot pot. And it was just so, I love the family meals, just talking and chatting and eating together. And then they broke out what they call the happy water. So it's pretty much northern Vietnam version of like sake or rice wine, and it's got some kick to it. We do our cheer, we learn the local cheer, and we're eating and eating. And then we walk about the town. It's like just the cutest little town, and there's dancing going on, and oh my gosh, it was just so fun. And then of course you're exhausted, but here's the thing. Here's what I didn't realize until the second I got on the motorcycle. Now my easy rider, his name was Mikey. It looked like he was 12. But I was checking him out. I'm like, Mikey, how old are you? He's 23. So I'm like, okay. He's got a son, 8 months. Okay. So he's not 12. I think I'm going to be okay. He's been doing this for a couple years. Okay, I'm feeling confident. Mikey was amazing. Mikey would be the guy who would fall behind just so he could zoom to speed up and catch to everybody, like go super fast. Mikey was the one who would like almost run into a car. And then every time he'd do something, Mikey would be the one who like start driving and his kickstand still down. And he would laugh, and he would just go, sorry. And he would just laugh his face off. So we had the best experience. He also like stalled out the bike once, and somebody had to come and get us. Like, this is just Mikey. But he was the kindest, most fun guy. It was just a good match. And so off we go. And as soon as I got on the motorcycle and I put my left leg, now I have this knee thing going on, and my knee can only bend 90 degrees. But what I didn't think is that when you put your foot on the post to rest it, it's like past 90 degrees. And it was so hard to get my leg there. And I could only get like the tip of my heel on this stupid thing. And so every time we turned or went over a bump, and trust me, this is a bumpy ride. I'm talking like bumpy ride, windy roads, pothole city. So basically what I had to do was hold on behind me for dear life, because normally when you're sitting on a motorcycle, you're stabilizing yourself when your feet are on those pedals. but my left leg just, it was just the heel, so I couldn't balance myself, so I had to hold on for dear life, like the death grip on the back of the motorcycle. And every time we went over a bump, I had to like push myself back, or like, it was so uncomfortable. I thought, oh my god, this is gonna be the longest 3 days of my life. It was so hard. And our first day was the longest day. We went for 115 kilometers. Now remember, we're stopping every like 30 minutes. We're having coffee. There's view posts all along there, and the leader decides where you're going to stop based on how busy it is or who the group is. And so we had a great leader. His name was Hu, and he just picked the best spots all the time. But I was struggling because it was a long day. We had stopped for this fabulous lunch, and at the end of the day, I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't think I could do 2 more days. It's just so hard. It hurts my knee. My arms are sore. Like I'm literally holding on for dear life, because when we turn, I can't balance with my legs, so I have to use my arms to hold on. And at the end of the day, I said to Mikey, I'm like, Mikey, I can't do this. My knee isn't bending enough. And but then I saw his post, and I'm like, I saw that he just put his heel on his post, and I said, Mikey, could I put my toes on that other part of the post that you're not using? Because then my leg is almost straight. And he's like, for sure, no problem. I'm like, well, okay. And then I did that, and he didn't even put his foot on the post. He gave me the whole post, and he put his foot on like where you gear up and down, because there was a little spot where he could rest his foot for that. And so I was like, Mikey, you could put it here and we'll share. He's like, no, no, you just have it. So that night when we went to my hotel room, my ankle was like the size of an elephant ankle. It was insane. I thought I was gonna have to like take the bus home, because it was, I've never seen my ankle that, because just no circulation happening. It was horrible. So thought I was gonna have to, I thought I was gonna have to quit the loop. But when I talked to Mikey about it, he gave me that post, and it felt so good. I was like, what is even happening? The next day, when I sat on the bike with my left leg almost straight on that post, I didn't even have to hold on at all. It was like easy rider. Then I understood the term easy rider, because it was effortless for me to just sit there, and I could take video and pictures and look all around me, and I didn't even have to hold on. It was just so amazing. And that's what all the other people were experiencing. And I'm like, damn, this is hard, because I was holding on for dear life. I thought that's what it was like that for everybody, but it wasn't. It was because of my knee. So, problem solved. And now this is like next level game changer. Fabulous. Now I can enjoy the experience instead of like being on a death trap for, I don't know, like 8 hours a day. It was night and day. And so I had the best time. I would highly recommend this to anybody who, if you go to Vietnam, you have to do this loop. It was one of the best things I've ever done in my life. I could show you pictures, but it won't do it justice, because it's the whole experience. Just standing there on these lookouts, it's so peaceful. It's so gorgeous. It was just, oh my gosh, it was life changing. And not only that, but the connection with the locals, like with our riders, and they're all a big family. And the next night we stayed at the homestay, and it was this huge party. It was like insane, because you can hear everything. You're sleeping on a mat on a floor with like a mosquito net, and the karaoke is thumping like till all hours of the morning. It was, you got to bring earplugs when you go to these places. But the coolest thing was like, our guides were so good. The girl that I was with announced at dinner, hey guys, I didn't tell you this, but it's my birthday today. And 10 minutes later, before dinner was even done, our guide had found, we were in the middle of nowhere, and he found that he came up with this birthday cake and personalized it with her name on it. And we all sang to her and had a happy birthday cake. And it was like the best cake I've ever had. I don't eat cake because I'm not eating sure. Best cake I've ever had. But the cool part was that we were in the middle of nowhere. I don't even know how he pulled this off, but that's the kind of things they do, right? They make you feel welcome. You're so taken care of there. They just really, really look after you, and you become part of the family. It was I just could go on forever about how life changing it was and how amazing it was. And so that's probably why it stuck with me, because the guy was explaining it how I'm explaining it to you. Like, just every viewpoint was more breathtaking than the one that we had just seen. And they took us down like on the side of a cliff, because we were just a small group, just down the small little pass that nobody else, you can't go down. And they took us to these little villages, and we went into somebody's house, and they showed us around how they only eat corn. That's all they eat, because that's all that can grow in the rocks. And it's just, wow. I'll be forever changed because of this experience. And I could go on and on. Like, I want to tell you all the things about it. It was phenomenal, and it was exhausting, and it was life changing. And I would highly recommend it. If you go to Vietnam, if you come to Vietnam, you have to do the Hai Giang Loop. You just have to. And then I didn't even get to tell you about what happened next. I'm just gonna finish this because it's so good. So that was 3 days and 2 nights of life-changing experience. And then after that, I jumped on the sleeper bus. Again, you just wait there. They're like, I'll tell you when the bus is here, and you get on it. And all of a sudden the bus showed up, and you get on it, and it's a sleeper. Like, it's like a bed, and you just pull the curtain and go to sleep and hope that they like call you when it's your stop. And they do. They're like, how long? And you're like, is this my stop? Oh my gosh. Like, you're just figuring it out as you go. And then you get kicked out of the bus, and they throw your stuff at you. And then it's like 4 a.m, and here you are in another city, and you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. And you could do a grab, right, to get to your boat. But the thing is, the boat doesn't arrive. It doesn't leave until 11 o'clock. And this is 4 a.m. So this nice taxi guy is like, hey, I can take you there, and you can get a little hotel for a couple hours, and it'll be good. Just let me take you. And he took me there, and sure enough, just as we pull up to the hotel, the lights on. And so they're friends, and they do this all the time, right? The taxi guy will bring people to the hotel, and it was like $15, best $15 I ever spent. The bed was so amazing, and I had a couple hours sleep, and then I could shower, and it was just so good. And then I walked to the ferry boat, and you're on this boat for one night, but it's packed full of fun things to do. And you're going through Halong Bay, which is, now it's these mountains that are coming out of the water, and you go kayaking and you go swimming. Okay, I went swimming, although it's not the cleanest water. Maybe not a good idea, but I couldn't not go swimming. And then you make rice paper rolls, and you do squid fishing. Like, it was just really well organized, and it was at high end. Like, I felt well taken care of, and then it was such a good combination to go with my Hagayong loop. And then after that, you're only 2 hours from Hanoi, and then I go out into the city of Hanoi, and I'm like, it's so dirty, and it's so loud, and it's so crazy, and I loved every second of it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't like big cities, but this is my jam. I just fell in love with Hanoi. It was just, there's a chaos to the traffic, but you just work your way in it. It just makes sense, but it's so chaotic, and I loved every second of it. I went and had their local pancake, which is like, you got to learn how to eat the pancake. It was a hot mess, but it was so delicious. And then I had the egg coffee, which is another like mind-blowing experience. And I just loved, like, at night, all the locals would come, and they'd just sit on this little stool on the side of the street, and they'd be eating dinner, cooking, and like, the little restaurants are just like hot pots. Everybody eats together. It was just so much to see and do, and so chaotic. And went to Train Street, and you sit where you're like 2 inches when the train comes blowing by you, and it was like so much fun. And met this cool family who runs a cafe there. Oh, so many cool stories to share. And I wasn't expecting to love Vietnam, but these 3 things that I did, like 10 out of 10. It was so amazing. But I'm not going to lie, I have not seen the sun since I got here. And it's all smog. Like, the sun is up there somewhere, but it's so dirty and smoggy, because everybody burns everything, and there's just this thick air that hangs, and you can't really breathe deep, and there is no sunshine. So it's very dirty, but the Vietnamese are hardworking people, and they are doing their thing, and I really enjoyed it here. I really, really did. I didn't know what to expect, and I would just highly recommend, if you do one thing where you're like, this is going to be life changing, Hagayang Loop. Oh, I could go on and on, but I won't, because the more I am telling you this story, the more I just, sorry, I'm thinking back to all the things that and having said that, I was sick. So I was getting sick. And at first I thought it might be a cold, but it's strep throat because I've had it a couple times. So, if you've had it, you get a sore throat and you're not sure if it's a cold or that. But after a couple of days, when you still get the sore throat and it never goes away. So I had to find my way to a pharmacy, and the lady was so helpful. She could just give you antibiotics over the counter, and so helpful and so kind. Because as much as I hate taking medications, if you've had strep throat, the only way to get rid of it, because it's a bacterial infection, is you need antibiotics. So fortunately, she could give them to me over the counter, and unfortunately, I have to take them. But I just started today, so I think I'll feel better. Because by the end of the day, I was knackered, but I couldn't stop going out. I was feeling so horrible, and at night, my throat just felt so bad, but I couldn't stop because there's so much to see and do. I was just out all night, walking and eating and visiting, and it was just like I couldn't miss out on this because it was just so fabulous. I love, love, love Hanoi, and like I said, I don't love big cities, but I think for one like 24-hour stint, it was perfect. Anyway, I could just go on and on about this, but that's it. So I'm headed to my next destination, so I got to pack up because I got to get to the airport. But as always, thank you for listening. Always, always, always love yourself first and have an amazing day.